Hey guys, welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review. As I am your host, Sarah Stephenson, and this is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi guys.
And tonight we are going to be reviewing a sort of a horror action movie.
Now, action horror.
Action horror.
The first word designates what the main theme is.
Yeah, so what would that be, movie title is, Mike?
It's called Route 666. It's a 2001 action horror, not horror action, action horror movie. Now, it was written by, Scott Fivelson, Thomas Webber, and William Wesley.
Yeah.
Now, it was also directed by William Wesley and produced by William Wesley, Cami Winnicott, and Terence O'Keefe.
I like to bring up, guys, before we begin, Mike and I were discussing how many people keep thinking horror should be all about blood, guts, and gore, and never about anything else in between.
Yeah, see, look, I've mentioned before, I've got a movie archive like you people would drool over. I've got over almost 6,000 movies. Okay, now the point is, I've seen a lot of movies, different decades. So some of my stuff goes back to the silent period. Now, to me, that today's horror movies, it's all, it's a slasher movie, we have got blood and guts and gore. A lot of people who are the viewers, not the makers, the viewers, they expect a jump scare every couple of minutes. No storyline, no atmos, no nothing. And when you get something which is not a slasher movie, they say, it's not, we don't like it, it's not very good, there's not enough blood and guts and gore. You get a decent movie, there's a storyline, there's good continuity in there, there is maybe a mixture of drama, action, bit of comedy thrown in to break the tension a bit. There's a mixture of things which makes a good movie, not just, a jump scare every couple of minutes, ooh. I'm sorry, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I've talked to a number of actors. I've mentioned they often agree with Mike that they don't like the necessary jump scares.
There's a thing called building it up. You have your quiet bit, and the quiet bits and the storyline, everything's nice and good now, and everything's going good for the past 5 or 10 minutes, and all of a sudden there's a jump scare comes in, it intensifies the jump scare. If you had a jump scare now and 2 minutes later another jump scare, it get to the stage where people go out, go to raid the fridge, well, I miss a couple of jump scares because I don't really care anymore. You need to build the jump scares into the storyline, not make the movie just a jump scare after jump scare. It doesn't work.
Yeah, anyway irrespective and moving right along. Now, this movie, I mentioned to you guys in my last movie review, it has this Laurie Petty, who stars in this alongside.
She was in Tank Girl, and she's been in other things as well, but they're the two things we like her in. Yeah.
And just like in Tank Girl, she's very sassy and a bit of a mouth on her.
Yeah, tell you what, she's in control. Now, Sarah made a comment. Did you make a comment about Elvira in the other one?
Yeah, I did.
You know how Elvira's got in control all the time. We love Elvira. She's a lovely lady. And she's in control of every situation, even though you don't think she is. And well, Laurie Petty comes over the same, a bit more scatterbrainy than, well, maybe similar, I don't know, to Cassandra.
In other words, Elvira, I often think both of them, they come from pulp culture, and
I think possibly, and probably similar vintage.
Similar vintage.
But they're both lovely ladies who know how to make an image.
Yes.
Anyway.
So, who else stars in this movie,
Well, I haven't got
Mike?
through that. I was actually going to talk about the budget first.
Well, just talk about the actors first.
I'll talk about the budget. No, we're on the actors. The budget was about $2.3 million for this movie. Now, that's not a lot of money, but I don't know what the box office was, so I can't tell you. I think it should have done well at box office, but I got no way to gauge it, which is, if anyone can come back and tell me what it was, I don't know.
Yeah, anyway, that's the thing about this movie. We couldn't get very much information.
Yeah, it's really hard. So anyway, now, the cast, if you will. The main star is Diamond Phillips, and he plays Jack LaRocca. He's a federal marshal, and he's working with Laurie Petty and some other ones to take a witness who's running away. He's got a witness against a mob
Yeah, a
in
mafia.
a court trial, mafia or mob, whatever. Now that's played by Stephen Williams. Now Stephen Williams
He's hilarious.
plays a really interesting part in this movie. I don't know if I've seen him in anything else. I possibly have seen Stephen Williams, but I just can't place him at the moment.
Well,
Oh yes, you may intervene, dear.
Yes. I heard somewhere that he has to make an appearance in the X-Files.
Oh, did he? Okay, well,
as Mr. X.
Mr. X.
I haven't seen X-Files in a long time.
Actually, I'm one of the people who are probably in the world who hasn't seen X-Files. I watched the first couple of episodes. It didn't grab me, so I just didn't watch it. So it's probably a good series, but yeah, whatever. But anyway,
it doesn't necessarily have to grab everyone.
But anyway, Stephen Williams plays Fred Rabbit Smith. Does not like being called Fred. Wants to be called Rabbit.
Yeah,
anyway.
I often think it's a mafia name, like
no, it's a sex name. He's good with the women. Yeah,
I know,
yeah,
but
maybe he's a good breeder.
I think it's like a nickname, just like mafia guys would often nickname you, Killer or Evil or
Mac the Knife,
or Eddie name, the Evil or something creepy like that.
Yeah, I won't go through all the other people, but there is a guy who plays Sheriff Bob Conway. It's L.Q. Jones. Now, L.Q. Jones, I don't know too much about him, but I do know he was in some old westerns and stuff. I think spaghetti western stuff with Clint Eastwood possibly and different things. He's been around for a while. He's playing an old cowboy. Yeah,
well,
but cowboy style. He's a sheriff, but same sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is taking place in a Mexico, Texas area.
Yeah, but it's Route 66. He's out in Arizona.
Arizona, sorry.
Yeah, Arizona.
I'm not familiar with America
we
area.
haven't been there. We want to go on holidays one day, but they keep saying people are sick out there, so we can't go over. Anyway, I want to go to New Orleans myself.
So who's playing? Who plays? What's his Patty T play? What's her character's name?
Laurie Petty. She plays Stephanie.
Petty, sorry.
I said she's the other federal marshal.
Sorry, but we didn't mention her by character name.
Oh, well, the name's not mentioned through the show.
Well, she's named Stephanie. Is that good enough?
Okay, Stephanie, the other federal marshal. But anyway, irrespective. So Jack LaRocca and Stephanie, unknown last name, are federal marshals being helped by Helen Keller and the Three Blind Mice. That's in the movie later on.
Yeah. Let me see. How many were they? There were like 5 other policemen working with them, and they are irresponsible idiots.
Yeah, they are, and they actually lost this witness. Fred Rabbit.
Way to the opening where they said that he ran off because they were not really.
They weren't taking it seriously. They lost him, and Jack LaRocca's come in here to find him and bring him back into custody to take him to the courthouse, which is in the next couple of days, so he can witness against a mob.
Yeah, hopefully.
But these guys are slagging off and they don't like him.
Yeah, and they argue over the most pathetic things.
Yeah. I think Farrah Fawcett got in there as well in one of the arguments. Never mind.
Yeah, see, in one of their arguments, they were arguing about supermodels. And
can we get on the storyline?
Yes, okay. Right. So, anyway, our heroes are collecting this this rabbit guy, and they not too far behind them are the mafia's hitmen.
They want to kill Rabbit.
Yeah, because he's witnessing their crimes and possibly testifying in court to reveal all the gruesome facts.
Because he's made a deal with the legal system. Say, if I do a full disclosure in the courtroom there and act as a witness for the prosecution, they'll let him off on his charges. So he walks away scot free, which happens a lot.
Yeah. Anyway, he and the officers, they then try to lead him in, try to get him on the road. Eventually, he keeps on saying how he doesn't want to testify because these guys couldn't even protect him in the first place.
Yeah, exactly right. They even lost him, so how can they protect him? So yes.
Yeah, but luckily for him, Jack LaRocca. I'm sorry, it doesn't roll off the tip of my tongue.
Yes, but it's on the table.
Yes,
there.
But I'll just say Jack to be formal.
Jack L.
Yeah, so Jack is he's a very good he's our protagonist, the lead protagonist.
Oh, protagonist. That's a big word, isn't it?
I've been hearing it a lot. So he's like our hero in the story, and all through this movie, he gets a little bit of flashbacks to some past of his.
And we find out as it unrolls through the movie that he was actually born in this area where they're actually, well, we'll step back a little bit. They're on their way from wherever they are in Arizona to the Californian border to get to wherever they've got to go to. They don't actually say too many things, but they've got to go through a deserted part of Route 66, which was decommissioned because of accidents and murders, different things that are happening in that area. So they decommissioned that part of the road, did a bypass.
Yeah.
But anyway, when he came to this area, which has been renamed by the locals as Route 666, he starts to get these
jitters.
These little funny memory flashes.
Yeah, hint, hunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, they think that, seeing as this might be a shortcut, they think this will make a really good, they can get there to the courthouse in time, hopefully. But you know what happens in these movies? Shortcuts lead to disasters.
They become a long cut. Hey.
But Jack decides to not believe the 666 rumors and decide to open the doors and just heading in.
Yeah.
Even though at the same time, a local deputy, is patrolling around there, and he notices the gates to the Route 666
it's been opened up.
Is open, and it's up to him to ring them in. Even though even though these guys are also part of the police investigations.
Yeah, they got a funny thing. The local sheriff and his deputies got no respect for federal marshals.
No.
Interesting, that isn't it?
Yes, but anyway, he tries to tell them to get off this road, but they say no. We're trying to escort a federal prisoner to on the other side.
Yeah, and it was the fastest way.
Yes. So anyway, he then tells the sheriff, and he's a total asshole, I'm going to say.
You can say arsehole, I think.
Yes.
Can you say arsehole? I don't know. Oh, well, we'll find out.
Anyway, he's not really a nice man. He's one of those, not by the book sheriffs.
He makes up his own rules as he goes along. Yeah.
Anyway, he doesn't care about what happens to them as long as it doesn't get on his record.
Yeah, if he buries the federal marshal out there, he doesn't really care.
Yeah. Anyway, then we reveal Jack has a particular reason to go out there. He wants to find out what happened to the...
No, he didn't have a reason. He started to get a feeling, and he found that cemetery, and something in his memory started to click.
Yeah.
And he stopped to have a look.
So they find the local cemetery, and he goes up just to check out if he could find the gravestones of his dead father.
Yeah, and
see his dad. He was a bank robber, and he went to jail for a bit, and then he found out, probably from his mum or from whoever, and they found out that he was killed in a...
Well, it's supposedly in a prison break or something.
Yeah.
But his mum died young too, so when he was a kid, so he must have been brought up by his auntie or uncle or grandparents or something or other.
Yeah.
So he didn't know too much about his family.
Yeah, and then one of the stupid policemen, he kind of just rags on about him and all the criminals who escaped
I think it's PT. That's he had a funny PT.
Yeah, he was all... Well, he should be a pissant.
Don't say rude words.
Okay, sorry about that. But he kind of mouthed off in worse than me.
He's real smart, Alec.
Yeah, he goes on about all the other prisoners who were not just Jack's dad, who's just a bank robber.
Yeah, but he knew them all.
But the other ones are killers and murderers.
He knew all the histories and everything.
Yes.
And he thought Jack LaRocca's dad, was John, was it? John, was a loser.
Yeah, he says that he describes that John, he was a bank robber, but he decided to go and try to be straight. Try to be straight. Try to be travel the road or travel the line.
Walk the line. Be good.
And then he gets married and has a child. And then somehow the money ran out. He lost his job and he had to go back to what he used to do.
Yeah, robbing banks and stuff.
And he got caught and he was sentenced to gosh knows how many years.
He would have been. He wasn't a hardened criminal like the other guys who were murderers and stuff, but he was on the same road
By
crew
the
with
sound
them.
of it, he wanted to toe the line, and I guess it doesn't matter if he lived or died. He just wanted to toe the line, and maybe with luck, if he was on good behavior, he may go home eventually to see his wife and child.
Yeah, lovely.
And again, Jack and him, they start fighting it out because he was acting all jerky to him.
And
Throughout
the testosterone was running very high here.
See, PT, he kind of had it in for dear old Jack because of his authority.
Yeah, he didn't like being controlled by, or being under Jack's direction as a leader.
Well, because the police, they brought in Jack because these guys screwed up.
Yeah.
Technically, they should be thankful that he came on board. He could have said, no, I don't want to be with these silly cops who didn't bother to protect a witness.
Yeah. Anyway.
But he didn't. Anyway, meanwhile, the other policemen are watching their witness, and then the hitman comes, they start shoot, bang, bang, bang.
Whatever.
And whatever.
All the above.
And then when this is happening, we then see something really supernatural appear. The four prisoners that were working on the road, including Jack's dad, who are sort of zombie-like or ghost ventral.
Zombie ghosty things, yeah.
And they only appear on the road or
that general area.
Yeah. And they start attacking with their equipment that they used when they were building that road.
Yeah, so one had a chain.
Yeah, one of them had a sort of a...
One had a pick.
Yeah.
One had a jackhammer type thing.
Yeah, and I think one of them had a sledgehammer.
That's right, sledgehammer, that's right, yeah.
And I think, do they call those construction equipment? I don't know what it's called. The jackhammer?
Yeah,
jackhammer.
I just said jackhammer.
Yeah, so that's their weapons of choice.
You know what? Would have been good if had a steamroller, hey?
Yeah. And while they're fighting, Stephanie notices on one of the prisoner's uniforms, it had LaRocca on his
just like Jack's last name.
And she yells, "Watch out, it's your father!" And Jack is a little bit stunned at first, and then his dad swings his chain. He had a chain attached to his wrist.
Yeah, long one, really heavy one.
He uses it to tackle Jack to the ground, and when he notices his dog tags,
he takes them.
He takes them and he looks at them, he's probably trying to work out why he's using...
For a dead guy, his brain's a bit fuzzy,
He was probably thinking, why has he got the same name as me? It's not...
My little boy.
But he doesn't know this, and Jack jumps into the hitman's car that was stolen in the beginning.
Yeah.
And
I think the man got killed, didn't he?
Yeah. And while this is happening, the others jump into their vehicles and try to escape. And
they go in one direction, he goes another way.
Yeah.
He hits the...
He hits a tree and he goes out cold. But that doesn't last for long, and
he wakes up in a...
He sort of wakes up in a cave.
A native Indian found him and took him to a cave.
Yeah, and he explains...
I think he's a bit of a shaman, maybe. Not really sure, but...
Who knows? Anyway, I like to think that he's a spiritual advisor.
He was, actually, yeah.
Anyway, he tells them that these roads are cursed, and it's up to Jack to kind of, solve the curse, to get rid of the curse, try to cure it.
Yeah, because the land has been cursed ever since yada yada yada, which is what 30 years ago or something. Yeah.
So he gets some good advice from that guy, and he sees more flashbacks of the incident that occurred. The three of the prisoners, I'm not mentioning John's the prisoner, the other ones, they kind of wanted to make a break for it, but luckily enough, the deputies in charge noticed their plans and they stopped them. But it doesn't stop there. I won't tell you what's going to happen next, but I'll tell it to you later on. So Jack starts heading towards, where the remaining policemen and their witness are. They're at a sort of a drive-in movie.
Yeah, they found an old abandoned drive-in movie place. Which obviously went out of business when they go abandon the road.
Yeah, the reason they're stuck there is because their wheels,
the tires,
they melted.
Yeah, the tires. The guys, the naughty guys underneath the ground, the dead guys, made the ground or the tarmac on the road hot, so it started to melt the rubber to slow them down. Because see, these guys survive on blood; they get the power from blood.
And when they touch one of the policemen touched the ground, it's cooled down. Or it's not. Yeah. Or it's not.
But the idea is they want to kill these people so they get the blood to make them strong. You see.
Yeah. Another thing was in one of the scenes where a rabbit was just lounging near one of the cement bit areas. One of the creatures comes towards him and tries to kill him. And he kept on going on and on about saying that these guys cannot step off the road. No, but this is a drive-in.
Yeah, where this is anything man-made, gravel, concrete, tarmac, whatever, they can come up through. And he killed a scorpion there next to him, and all this blood came out. So that scorpion blood must have been just enough to give this guy a bit of energy to come up through the ground.
Yeah, anyway, Jack was able to find a payphone. And this is an interesting thing because in this scene, none of their phones can work.
All cell phones.
All their cell phones are not working in this area because they're either out of range or...
Out of range.
Just out of range.
This is out of range.
But the payphone works, and they're able to phone in the local sheriff and tell him about the situation.
And he's not on their side, obviously.
No, in fact.
Actually, Jack asked for some backup troops or marshals to be sent there, and the sheriff doesn't pass information on.
No.
Quite interesting. He was reading a book, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was reading. He was reading The Telltale Heart.
Yeah,
by Edgar Allan Poe.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Telltale Heart.
And you guys know the story about a man was killed, and then his body was buried underneath the floorboards.
And you can hear bumpty bumpty bump. Yeah,
and this is probably one of those inspirations for this movie.
Oh, yeah.
I like to think that's how.
Well, not inspiration, but the idea is interesting. Yeah. Carry on.
So
people getting tired.
So he soon. While the sheriff and his deputies arrive there, Jack and Rabbit, they head to the bathroom because Rabbit's complaining
Rabbit needs
about.
A splash. He needs to visit the bathroom quite quickly.
He's been complaining non-stop about not getting any, toilet breaks.
And it's very hard to do when you're handcuffed to a car all the time.
True.
Do it one-handed, really hard.
Yeah, he even complained about not pissing near a cemetery.
You don't want to do it, no.
I mean, if you believe all the supernatural stuff, that sort of thing.
Well, he's out on the road outside the cemetery. I don't think it would have made much difference.
Well, he says never. His mother says never piss against the wind and never piss on a grave.
Yeah, well, he wasn't in the graves, but
I know, but who knows? The wind could go in the other direction. You never know.
Well, yeah, you never want to be downwind when you're anyway.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. So anyway, while they're in the bathroom, they find out that the sheriff kills one of their policemen, policewomen. I mean,
police lady, wasn't it?
Yeah, she was killed, and these guys are definitely wanting to kill all of them so they won't witness to what's happening.
Well, they don't want to know about what happened with the dead prisoners because they suspect they know the history of the area now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, they find Rabbit in the bathroom while Jack is hiding, and he tries to use one of the cars to drive one of the other deputies away so he can get information from him with any luck. And it works out. He finds out from the deputy that these creatures are in force and they're going to probably come whenever there's blood around.
You've spilled blood on the road. Well, you're spilling more blood on the road.
Yes, and eventually that deputy gets killed by these creatures.
The guys, yeah.
Yeah, and this.
Yes, well, yay.
Yeah, and we find out from the sheriff that deputy turned out to be his son.
Yeah, that's right. He's, my son Gil. What happened to him? Yeah.
Anyway, the sheriff goes down there to find out if his son is okay, and he finds dear old Jack there, and he tells him that's for shooting a federal officer and all that stuff.
They had a bit of a fight and everything.
And, of course, he wonders, where's his backup? And, of course, the sheriff says, ain't coming. I'm not going to... And that way. And he wonders why...
Doesn't he handcuff him to the car?
No, that was the deputy he handcuffed to the car. Anyway, he tells him that he knows about the creatures and that if they so much stay on the road, they can smell them and they will come. Anyway, then we get another flashback of the very night that the convicts get killed.
You see the whole
and,
story.
And we see them telling John LaRocca, to get into a hole they just dug, and he says he had nothing to do with the breakout.
And the sheriff didn't care. He said, I might as well get rid of you as well. Because
I think he was a deputy when he was young.
He might have been the sheriff. He's in control of the chain gang.
Yeah. Anyway, so that he then he gets one of his other men to hit John in the back of the head, and I think he was still alive when this happened. Maybe, I'm not sure how much that force they used. And the other ones, they were shot in the kneecaps or in the chest. I don't know which ones got shot in the chest, so And he says that he's gonna, fix this. And he says, one of the deputies say, "What about the federal officer? Won't they be wanting to know what happened?" And he says that let's just say that it was an accident.
Yeah, they all got run over by a steamroller at the same time. Shame, shame, shame.
Yeah, a bit too obvious to me. Anyway,
it is a movie. Yeah,
yes. Anyway, Jack gets pissed at the sheriff, or angry at the sheriff, and he tells him, "It's all because of you. You caused the accident. You caused my father not to have any rest. All that stuff." And he's gonna fix him. And then the vengeful ghosts appear, and they're about to kill Jack in the process, but luckily enough, he appeals to his father's zombie.
His memory.
Yeah, and eventually his dad saves him and beats up all the other prisoners.
And kills them all.
Yes.
Well, kills the dead guys in a spiritual way.
Yes. Yeah, while all this is happening, Rabbit and Stephanie, they eventually come down there and try to help Jack out. In one part, while John was fighting one other zombie, he was losing energy, and so his son Jack cuts his hand, and they share a moment.
Yeah,
there.
they clasp hands so they can transfer the energy from Jack's blood into his father.
Yeah.
So he gets some energy so he can finish off getting rid of the bad guys.
Yeah, and when his father was looking at his face, he was mumbling the words, "Thank you," even though he doesn't say it, but I could tell right away he said it.
Well, dead guys can't talk. Yeah.
But I sense it.
Yeah.
So anyway, he wraps the chain around the creature, the prisoner, and he kills him.
Him or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
then Dad walks off off the road.
Yeah, and he then throws the dog tags, his son's dog tags, back to his son.
But then does his dad sort of go out there, falls his knees, puts his hands up like he's praying to God?
Yeah,
or something
asking for God to forgive him and to allow him to go on to paradise.
And then he just fades out. So we like to think he went to heaven.
I like to think so.
Because he wasn't really a bad guy. Yeah, and where the other guys were.
Yeah, meanwhile the sheriff is still around, so they decide to take a pun and shoot a few bullets in him.
What's that?
The sheriff was still alive, but while this is happening, while they're shooting at him, a steamroller in his imagination, so appears in his mind.
Yeah, a lot bigger than the one. Yeah, I read something in that his vision of the steamroller, even though no one else could see it, depicted the Grim Reaper coming after him. In steamroller form. Interesting, that.
Yeah, and he keeps shooting at it, and you could tell right away that something is bouncing off from the
You could hear it go clunk clunk, bills ricocheting off metal, but they couldn't see anything.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, so the steamroller rolls over to the sheriff and crushes him.
Yeah,
and all you see is his dead remains.
But you don't see him being crushed. His body's still intact, but in his mind, his life force was driven out of him by the Grim Reaper, which is great.
Yeah. For some people. So anyway.
Well, not for him.
Yeah. No. So our three heroes walk off into the sunset and off to trying to get across the border.
Not
across the border. I mean, across the border.
They want to get out of Arizona into California and say, we should make court tomorrow. What I don't know about you, even if they were running but full tilt, I don't think they'd make it to the border by morning.
Yes, so anyway, that's the story. And my opinion about this movie, it makes me think of something that Stephen King may have written.
Yes, it had that sort of feel like a Stephen King movie. Yeah, it had a good feel to it. I mean, look, it was not the best movie in the world, but it's not a bad movie.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of cool. I liked the whole vengeful ghosts that look like zombies in this movie.
Well, it's somewhere in between ghost zombie type thing, yeah, because they were, yeah, but they look like zombies, but they're ghosts, yeah, whatever.
Whatever is right.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it had all the makings of a good movie. Had good cast. They had Laurie Petty. They had Diamond Phillips in it. That sort of stuff. The storyline was good, and being done out there in a desert type environment, you're limited to sets, so you really have to they use the local settings to make it come real, and that was supposed to be set in that sort of environment.
And the special effects in this are very easy to master. When I look at it,
it's quite minimal, but
I could probably do it myself if I wanted to, but I won't because I think it's very well crafted when I look at this.
Yeah, but the point is that they didn't have to spend a lot of money on making sets up and different things, and they shot on location, probably somewhere, and maybe not Route 66, obviously.
Maybe somewhere in Arizona, obviously.
Somewhere, I know, but yeah, they just found an old road, and maybe that old drive-in theatre might have been a real old drive-in theatre they located, and the location scout might have found it. So, hey, that's a great location. We'll use that, and it worked.
Yeah. I think I've looked up that there are probably a few Route 666 and
no,
actually there is a few.
Is there Route 66?
Yeah, there's one in somewhere in
really?
Colorado.
Not 66.
Yes.
666 or 66?
666.
Triple sixes.
Yes.
Okay.
But the road itself exists, but has been renamed because the New Mexico Department of Transport becomes because of the superstition about the number.
Well, okay. So yeah, it had route numbers, whatever. So
it was originally renamed something else
But the original Route 66.
To
was I don't know where it started and finished. I can't remember. It's a very long road. For those people who don't live in America, the Americans know all about it. It's I don't know. It could be a couple of thousand miles long. It's just a long road which goes from town to town to town, cutting across America from point to point. And it was a major road when it was made, but it was soon over the next couple of decades, it was sort of bypassed a little bit in different areas. Yeah. And then now it doesn't get travel that much anymore.
Yeah. Another thing about this movie, or the actor who played in the movie, the guy who plays PT.
That was Dale Midkiff.
Yeah, he was also known in the role of Pet Sematary, and had a slight connection to
the original one.
Yeah, the original, not the new one, just so you guys know, where he was connected to the bodies that were buried, come back to life and become violated and murderous. In Pet Sematary, he buries his daughter, his cat, his son,
he played the lead role.
His wife,
I didn't know that. I didn't check.
Well, as you guys probably have seen the new Pet Sematary and know the story and know the changes, this one must be the one is the 90s one, or the one that came previously years after it. Years before.
Whatever. Yeah. Well, there you go then. Okay. I can't say too much about this because I can't find a lot of information on it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. That I'm really limited to only a little slight, just a handful of knowledge on it.
So we can't go into too much about where it was done and how it was done or anything.
Or whether or not they filmed it in Arizona or Mexico.
Well, you don't know exactly where they did the filming, which is I would like to know, because we did Take Girl on the last one, and it was supposed to be set in Australia, but that was set in New Mexico, wasn't it? When it was actually filmed in New Mexico somewhere, I think.
Roughly.
Yeah, so but it's supposed to be Australian. So in America, they can pop anywhere into any state they want to be in and say this is whatever. So
Yeah, just like if you were filming a movie in somewhere in Europe or England and they say it's actually, and they cast it with American actors, and you think if it's casted with American actors, then it's casted in it's an American film.
Not necessarily, but actually, good indication about locations and stuff. When they want to do a film depicting old London, with the old brown bricks and red roofs and whatever, and everyone's got a chimney and there's smoke coming out. You know what I filmed that? In Prague.
Wow.
Which is in Europe. Because there's parts of Prague which haven't been developed yet, and all these old buildings have a similar feel and look to what old England would have been like 100 years ago.
True.
Yeah, 150 years ago, 200 years ago, whatever. So if they want to do that, they do it over there, which is interesting. Still have cobblestone streets and everything, probably.
True.
Haven't been to Prague, but that's what I've heard anyway. So yeah, it doesn't matter. But it's supposed to be set in Arizona. It could be Arizona.
It could be. Just might be.
I'd like to know where it was done. Because,
I mean, if some directors can film it on, say, their own where they live, then it's most likely possible that some of them may really film in an actual location that's meant in this movie.
I mean, it's out in the middle of nowhere. That makes it logistics of getting people there and food and accommodation and stuff. Yeah, but yeah, if you got somewhere which looks the part. Yeah. Remember we did that Teenage from Outer Space? We're up in the hills where
they did in LA.
The Gargan was supposed to be hiding in a cave. Well, that was part of a park just outside of LA. Yes, they didn't have to go too far, but looked like it was out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
All the shooting in LA was done in such a fashion so you didn't see any tall buildings. It's supposed to depict
or LA signs or hotel or Hollywood signs.
Yeah, but no big buildings or anything. So they said this is a small country town. It was filmed to look like a small country town that was in the middle of a city.
Yeah.
Good filming. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, another thing about this movie is that I do like the fact that it deals with interesting vengeful ghosts or. Yeah, and I do like the fact that that it's interesting that him and his father had a moment, which I like. I like nice. I like it when
a bonding session for ghosts. Oh.
I thought it was kind of nice. He probably never seen his son when he was.
He didn't. No, he was in jail. I think. No, I'm not quite sure. He was very, very, very young. I don't think he remembered his father. So his father might have known him, but after he was born, sometime or other, maybe he went back to a life of crime. Because he didn't have any money to support his family. Yeah. So he might have had very, very vague memories of his father. Being like, he might have been 2 years old or something.
Yeah, he could have been like 1 or 2.
Yeah, and 3 or something,
and too young to remember him.
Yeah, a few years later, his mum passed away. Yeah. So, well, it's a shame, poor little fellow. But he grew up well. He became a federal marshal. What a good job. Yeah. What a good fellow. What a nice young boy.
Yeah, I bet his dad will be very proud.
Well, I like to think so, yeah, even though his dad was a criminal,
I like to think that his dad was probably going to toe the line and do right.
I like to think that Dad was forced into life of crime because he didn't have any money. And so he wasn't really a bad man.
Yeah. I like to think that if things were different and he might have, would have paid his time and maybe even got off for good behavior and may get back to his own family.
And then, what?
Well,
he wouldn't get a job because he couldn't get jobs before.
A good point. But at least you'll see his son. And maybe he might find a job somewhere. I don't know how it works. I don't know how the law.
Somebody might have offered him a job. Yeah.
I don't know how the law system was like back then.
Well, it's not so much the law system. It's just that the social system. I mean, you get a jail. You're an ex-convict. And you go into a town and say, what we're in for? I was a bank robber. Now, they're not going to give you a job as a security guard at the local bank, are they?
Nope.
No. Okay. The local storekeeper, he might not do it because, there's money here in my till, you might steal my money. Gas station attendant, same thing. Where do you put him?
True.
You see, so no one's going to offer him a job. And that's where the problem is.
Yeah, I gotta admit though, I did think it was a nice moment, especially the fact when he was looking at the dog tags and trying to work out why the dog tags have his same name on it. It didn't. It only had a J.
A J LaRocco.
Yeah, that could mean anything.
Jackie, John.
Because considering that, I wouldn't be surprised that Jackie could be his nickname and his real name could be John.
Some guys called John are referred to as Jack.
Yeah, so. That's my theory. I think that maybe it was a nickname, like John Jr. or something like.
I had an Uncle Jack. I never knew whether his name was really Jack or John.
Yes.
Anyway, I've got nothing more to talk. I got to know tidbits of production
Yeah,
thingies.
I'm at a loss, guys. I have nothing to say.
This is going to be one of our shorter ones.
Oh, great.
No, it's not too bad.
But I like to go deep into a movie and find out if there's anything worth talking about.
Tell you what, though, one thing I'd like to say that being Route 66, the real Route 66, not 6666, whatever, 666. I don't know how long ago, but a lot of people over the years used to do road trips along Route 66. Some people do a car, some people motorbikes, and they'll travel it just as a social thing. Like, hey, I did Route 66 or majority of it or something as a holiday. That sort of stuff. Just going from town to town, checking it out. I was wondering how many people out there in America have actually done that. What's it like? Is it been redeveloped to such a degree you can't follow the trail anymore? All the roads being bypassed, or is it still accessible? Anybody out there from America can come back to Sarah, through her. What's your site?
My if you can, you could always contact me through my Facebook page.
Yeah, for Facebook, and just say, I've done it. Most of it's or most of it's gone, or whatever. It's nowhere near as good as it was. Or
anyway,
it's still
Mike,
good.
let's rate this movie now.
Okay. I'm just trying to think. I'm not going to. I can't take special effects in because there's very little, only a bit of fade in, fade out for the.
I can even do it myself.
The dead guys, and there wasn't a lot of need for that, but the storyline was good. I think the casting wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Well, I can't say much about the scenes because it's all outdoors. Most of it was outdoors. So I'm going to be nice and give it a 9 because it met the criteria for a good movie. Some people might find it may not have enough action for it, but I look at an action drama.
Or enough gore, because some people would often think it amounts to the gore instead of storyline or anything.
If you look at an action drama with a horror theme to it, I think it meets the criteria quite well. So
or even character development that I often mention.
Well, there's a little bit of character development, and we find out a bit more about Jack as it goes through. And he's the main one, and about him and his father, and then you find out about the sheriff. So you find out about his past and whatever. So it wasn't a wham bam thinking man with no whys and wherefores or anything else. So they had a bit of character history and whatever. Yeah, it was good.
Yes. So anyway, I give this movie about 9.5 out of 10.
You're a lovely girl. Is that because Lou Diamond Phillips is in it?
What?
Is that because Lou Diamond Phillips is in it?
Not so much as that. I mean, there's some other things I'm not going to mention, pick it apart, but I do think the movie is pretty awesome and cool.
Yeah. Actually, Lou Diamond Phillips, he was in La Bamba. He was he played the lead role in the movie La Bamba, which is about Ricky Valens, or Valenzuela, I think his full name was, and he was a rock and roll musician back, I think, in the mid to late 60s, and he actually played in the biodrama, and he did it well. He looked the part to a certain degree. He looked the image. Whether he played the guitar and sang some of it, I don't know, but.
Yeah, so I guess
anyway,
that's about it for us tonight. So this is Sarah Stephenson
and Michael Stephenson
saying, see you guys around.
It's been a pleasure.
Bye.
Bye, guys.